Good to see you. You are looking well.
Well, thank you very much. You're not looking bad yourself.
Thank you.
You're looking good. I believe that you've been following the appointments committee sittings.
Yes, I have.
I mean, is there any comments that you'd like to make regarding any of it?
Viewers.
Before we get into the issues.
Viewers. I think the honorable minority leader is a bit erratic. He's a leader of the largest opposition party in the country, and as a leader, I'm expecting him to show decorous. He's supposed to be calm, and you know it is difficult to chair any meeting at all. But maybe it becomes even more difficult when you are chairing a televised, a meeting or a process that is being televised. It means that as a chairman, you have to be at your best. And as probably members of that probably meeting, which is being televised, you have to be at your best. But I think that the honorable minority leader, respectfully, he has not probably done what I was expecting. I was expecting him to show a certain level of decorum, a certain level of class, but you could hear the chairman repeatedly ask him to probably stand down, wait, allow somebody to talk, and he will continuously persist till he gets his wish. And I think that it is not good. I have chaired meetings at different levels, and I put myself in the chairman of the appointment committee in Parliament. I put myself in his shoes, and I'm thinking, what would I do to such an errand and a member who would not allow me to chair the meeting the way I want. I just thought that, and I'm sure members, if you open your phone lines, a lot of the comment that will come from the general public would be the same. I don't know whether he wants to show macho, he wants to let members of the MPP
Is he not just trying to do his job, as minority leader?
No. The outgone appointment committee chairman,
Joseph Osei-Owusu. Yes.
Do you know the way he chaired those meetings?
Yeah.
He did that because he didn't have a lot of heckling, members of the committee pushing him around. I mean, I felt very sorry for the entire process. I mean, it was an eyesore, if you ask me, a complete eyesore. Because then these are our leaders. We just elected them. And they are vetting those who are supposed to come in and lead the ministries that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has penciled down for them to lead and ensure that the economy that is in bad shape is probably is jump-started. You saw that of the finance minister. A lot of questions that went to me. I thought, you know what? Ask him the bread and butter questions. Stop the politics. But most of the questions I think that the MPP members in Parliament, I don't know how this, I think they would have to speak to the minority leader he would always, I'm sure they will give him the opportunity to. But the way he did it, if you ask me, I will tell you that it was a complete eyesore. I think that if the Speaker of Parliament, the Right Honourable Speaker of Parliament is watching us this evening, I think he should call some of these people to order. I mean, I don't know what you think, but for me, it was painful watching it. Maybe a bit better when you are listening than
maybe when you are there
watching, because you can see the speaker. The
chairman of the committee.
Chairman asking the honourable minority leader, please stop. And no, he won't budge. And you don't know whether, like a child who wants something, and daddy is saying, hold on, it will be your turn, you would have it. Say, no, I must have it. I mean, you like that spoiled child mentality.
I mean, perhaps because of the overwhelming majority, that the NDC side has.
No.
You don't want to be seen as, being...
But you see...
being run over by the majority side.
There would have been something members of the NDC people did well to deserve the overwhelming majority they had. But if the minority side is going to go this way, it becomes very difficult. Because then if you ask me that what were some of the questions that I remember and the answers, all I heard was chairman. That is all I can remember.
It was a bit disruptive for you.
Chairman. And he will say it 100 times. And the chairman will be telling him, chairman. No, Lantam.
It's interesting.
It's very, for me, I just think that this is not what we are paying our members of parliament to do. I have to be very honest. Very disgusting what happened. It wasn't good. For me, I was suspecting cool heads. The chairman is in the chair. Everybody must pay attention to the chairman. It is his show. Listen to him. If we disagree, let the others talk. You'll be given the opportunity to talk. And the way it happened is almost like, I don't know whether you've been in any debating class before. Debating, yeah, I mean.
Certainly I have.
No.
When I was younger.
I think Honorable Afenyo-Markin, Buama also did well. Honorable, is it Yabuama?
Yeah, Patrick Yabuama.
A couple of them, even Sami Awuku, who wasn't a member, did very well. I think the MPP's minority leader, I think he needs to up his game by
toning down a bit.
Just tone down. Don't want to be noticed. Let your questions be noticed. But his temperament and others were noticed, but not his questions.
Well, we're going to probably see a lot more of that. We don't know what's going to happen.
I hope not.
At the next vetting, because the president is still here to appoint, more of his appointees, more of his ministers.
I'm daring.
We'll see.
I just felt,
we'll see how we'll see.
And all deputy ministers are going to be vetted, eh?
Yeah, every minister has to be vetted by the appointment.
So is that what they are going to do?
Well, we don't know. When we get to that bridge, we'll cross it.
I hope not.
Thank you for that comment, Dr. Adam Bonaa. But let's start on the security issues by asking, from where you sit, as this new administration has taken over, what would you say, or how would you describe the state of our security here in this country currently? I mean, from where you sit and what you know.
I think the state of our security, if you ask me, it's not in bad shape. It's not in bad shape. What seems to be happening looks to me more of organized chaos. Where you see pockets of people pilfering here and there, taking from here and there. And sometimes when you stand back, you are able to dot and say, okay, this person seems to be working with other people who seem to be controlling them. But if you are not careful, you will not realize that these guys look organized because they are chaotic. You will think they are disorganized. So I call it organized chaos, because then you have some of them going to the port and wanting to take over. You have some of them going into warehouses and wanting to take over, even though, and you'll notice that right from the 8th, when the outgone, when the election, NDC won the election, we started having some of these things. The outgone, the former president said that the president-elect should speak, which I thought, it wasn't for the incoming president to talk because he hadn't taken over. But fortunately, he spoke. And so I just think that maybe from there, things should have been put in place, but it looks like it didn't. So for me, I think we've seen some form of chaos, some form of looting, some form of, call it stealing, which, is difficult to tell. You would hear rumor that they are members of the MPP, members of the NDC. And, and sometimes you see some of it on TV, the complaints that fertilizers are being stolen. Of course, some is good. The president revoked MMDCs, their appointment by asking them, because then I think some of them were also involved in what was going on. Because then fertilizers that were supposed to be that of the state ended up in private warehouses. And these private warehouses meant that if some of these boys or some of these young people didn't locate these warehouses, after they've been sent home, they would go and clear these warehouses and sell the loot. And so in one way or the other, I would say that what they should have done should have been to work at every given point with the police, who are mandated by law to ensure that crimes such as these are stopped. If MMDCs, those of them who want to steal from the state, they are stopped in their tracks from stealing. But unfortunately, it didn't. And fortunately, this time around, we don't have, I didn't see too many. I don't think people are eating right now. Public toilets, I saw one on TV, I think in the Bonaa area, where they chased, someone had to be chased out of a public toilet. And this time around, I think we don't have too many public toilets now, managed by the district assembly, so we didn't see a lot of them. But I think that it could have been handled well. And fortunately, His Excellency the President and even the NDC party itself, I've heard them speak against it, that what is going on is stealing. I won't say petty stealing, it's stealing and must be stopped. I don't think that any individual within this country has the right to take the laws into, as for citizens' arrest is part of our laws. That when you see someone committing a crime, you should stop the person, arrest the person. The law says arrest the person with the evidence and immediately hand the person over to the police. That is what the law says. But it is not up to you to try to. And I've heard about sometimes extortion in a way, which I think that these are not things that Ghanaians voted for, if you ask me. Ghanaians voted overwhelmingly for the NDC, and some of us actually wanted a change badly. And so if that change has come, it means that what Ghanaians were complaining, that these are the ills of the previous administration, what do? You don't do them now, isn't it? Every level-headed person would agree with me and say that, yes, you said you don't want this person because they are looting the systems. You saw the NIB, the former boss land issue. He denied that said Martin Pebu was attempting to defame him, and now the verdict is out that he bought the land for about $10,000, 160 something thousand Ghana cedis at that prime location, and he's willingly giving it out. So I'm told they are no. So mine is that people should do what is right, because then if you don't do it that way, no one can tell me that NDC is going to stay in power for another 100 years. Whether you like it or not, one party would come again. And you don't want a repetition of these things.
What are the security implications when we see all of these things, happen? Because it feels as though people who are affiliated to the party that has come in power will feel emboldened, to engage in certain acts because their party is in power. What is the danger there in terms of, implications for our security as a country or for national security?
It tells you that we need to do away with party appointment of some people into certain positions. So appointment should be by merit. If appointments are done through merit, then what happens? And appointments are done. And those appointments that are done, you have a tenure of office. You get what I'm trying to say? Or the general public knows that you have a tenure of office. And therefore, if I arrested you and I locked you up, you are not going to agitate against me and get your party or the executive to remove me. The only way we can fight this canker is to ensure that the office of, security agency heads come with, tenure of office. So you are put there, and if it is maybe 2 terms, you go to the universities. So I think it's 4 years, 2 terms, as for each of them, depending on your age. I think so. And so you know that if you serve for the first 4 years and you do well, you are likely to be renominated and appointed as a vice chancellor. And so you remain there. That way, once you are there, university dons will not agitate and say, remove the vice chancellor.
Yeah.
So until we have that, the challenge is that the cycle is cyclical. Power changes, and the next day, those who felt when we lost power, you did this to us, would also do that to you. But that is completely wrong. I don't believe in that mentality.
Two wrongs don't make a
right. No,
right.
I just think that let's get to a point where, for instance, in Britain, in America, in other places, Trump won the election. We didn't hear of looting, did we?
No.
Trump, just like John Mahama, His Excellency President John Mahama, did one term and lost to Joe Biden, right? Eventually, he won again and is back. Did we hear of looting? Did we hear of people getting beaten? No. So we would want to, if we pride ourselves as a beacon of democracy in Africa, in West Africa, and in the world, I think we should elevate the discourse and ensure that when one party loses election, they've lost. In any case, they've lost. Stop them from stealing, but don't beat them up. Don't take the law into your own hands and say, oh, my party is in government, I can beat you up, I can do it. I think it's so barbaric. We should get to a point where, like His Excellency John Mahama said, can we do it right? Can we say this time around, we want to get it right?
Can we show Ghanaians that?
Can we show Ghanaians? To borrow from, let me quote Joe Mahama before this. Let me, borrow from what you said. I don't want to be cited for plagiarizing what you said. We are Ghana, and Ghana is us. Is that all he said? Literally, we are Ghana. So if we are Ghana, what they are doing is that a Ghanaian thing? No. When House of Folk beats Kotoko, do they go into Ashanti region to loot Ashanti region? When Kotoko comes, no, it doesn't happen. But unfortunately, it looks like our politics, we've taken it to a certain level. So you remember on the 17th on the 9th of 2017, a certain DSP Nankab Bruce was beaten.
Yes.
But by alleged thugs. And if you ask Nankab Bruce, he will tell you that those who led the beating included one police officer who is serving now in the police service, one Jalil or so. Okay? And we haven't seen any prosecution, have we? We haven't seen it. We haven't seen any prosecution. And so my point is that we need to get to a point where, and Nankab Bruce was beaten, he was bleeding, it's bad. You don't want a situation where, because one party has won an election, the other side who lost are no longer Ghanaians.
Would you say that investigation should be reopened with regard to ASP Nankab Bruce's?
Oh yes, I think so. I think so. The beating of, if you ask me,
that was 8 years ago.
8 years ago. You see, mine is that it was a sin against the state. It happened within Jubilee House.
Yeah, the Jubilee House.
Call it Flagstaff House. It was a sin against the state. And others who want to say that, don't say it. How? The man was beaten in a police vehicle in police uniform. Why shouldn't I have heard His Excellency John Mahama asking for those who were killed?
Yeah, the 8 who were killed.
They are now about 13.
Yes.
Between 2016 and 2024, about 13 people killed in the process of exercising their franchise and getting involved in the electoral process of this country. That is a right. It's not a privilege. It's a right. They get killed. And the former president never spoke of that. He never asked for any investigation to be opened. And so, you see, and that is what probably would embolden some young people today who will say, my party has won an election. Therefore, I can also do the same. And I say, no, you can't do it. Because if you do it, as we are advocating for those who did it years back to be prosecuted, you will also be prosecuted.
So what should be the posturing of the security agencies, in light of all of this, at this point in time, especially with those so-called party supporters who are going on rampage, who feel emboldened, to do looting, to capture officers, lock up officers and all of that. What should be the posturing of the police?
I think that I want to see arrest and more arrest, prosecution and more prosecution. The law is the law. The law, we are all underneath the law. We are all supposed to be obedient in terms of the law. So that you have won an election. And so you take the laws into your own countries, and the Ghana police is no longer Ghana police. But I'm happy.
Yeah,
they've arrested several of them. The only thing is that maybe they are not publicizing them. They are supposed to let us know, because then, this day and age of social media and, a lot of information, if you don't put these things out, it'll be difficult for people to know, and also to serve as a deterrent to those who would want to commit these crimes, if you ask me. So as far as I'm concerned, and more so, in these security services and forces, there are a lot of, partisan officers in there. Right? A lot of partisan officers in there. I'm sure you saw, I think recently something popped up in the media about some officers who had sued the Ghana Police Service that they were recruited for a certain D-Day operations, allegedly in the court document. It's not allegedly, it's in the court document. I think I'm told they've withdrawn that case now. And, alleging that they were recruited, and when the IGP got wind of it, that these guys probably have been recruited. According to the court document, they've been recruited to go and for D-Day operations. And what sort of D-Day operations are you talking about? And that would definitely not come under the IGP. So he got them transferred, and allegedly, not allegedly, in the court document, they said the current Deputy Inspector General of Police said they shouldn't go. They shouldn't go on the transfer, and they should go and enter into the station's diary and all those things. And my point is that when these things happen, you can only probably connect them to the politics of the day. You know why? Because then, I lived in Britain for years, and I tell people that, listen, if you have to go and vote, election day, you just walk in there. Those days, I don't know about today, maybe technology has changed. I'm no longer. They give you a piece of paper, you're on the electoral roll, they look on the thing, then they give you the thing. I think you don't, that one you even take, then you go, small paper, you go and put the thing in there. Then you walk home.
Very peacefully. Without any incident or without any issue.
In the evening when they are mentioned, when the Labour, they've won, or, the others, what do you call it, the Conservative, when whoever wins, or if you have the Lib Dems who are in the middle and they are showing Shakara, life goes on. Because people don't depend, it's not life and death. But over here, the winner takes all also create a situation where, Nanado would appoint over, hundreds of staffers. Hundreds of staffers. And all these people, like I'm sitting here and I'm talking, all they do is say one thing about the party, and they come and they start insulting you, because to them, where their bread is buttered, you are destroying the place.
But you mentioned that some of our security agencies are, highly politicized. there are political elements within the security service. Is it from where you said, is this something which has become overt? Because obviously everybody would definitely vote and will have their preference. You yourself did research prior to the elections, and your research indicated that quite a number of people within the security services would want a change, among other things. Obviously people would want to vote, but the politicization that you talk about from where you sit, is it overt such that it is interfering in the professionalism of these individuals who are within, these security services?
I'm sure you heard about the leak tip. It was public knowledge. Went through Parliament. I mean, I think your station is one of the first station to leak. Your station leaked the thing. And if you see the machinations of national security intercepting Bugri Nabu's someone and locking them up and trying to extract information and everything that came out, and we are scheming because if this IGP stays there, we are not going to win the next elections. So the IGP stays. He stayed. Ghanaians said they want him to stay, and he stayed. And the will of the people. No, I believe that no IGP can make you president too, can make you MP. If the people say they want you, you should do. So, if for nothing at all, if we used to treat partisanship in the context of the security services as COVID, now it became overt, isn't it? We now is open because it's in Parliament, and some of them said, well, yes, I've been a card-bearing member, eventually one of them retired and attempted to come to Parliament, and he lost at the primaries. And when they asked him, I think at the vetting, he said he's been a card-bearing member for a long time, but in Parliament, it looks like he answered to that question differently, slightly different. And so mine is that we are all citizens. And once you are above 18, sound mind and all that, you are eligible to vote and to be voted for, right? So if you are a police officer, a military officer, you heard me on this platform before D-Day and D-Day mentioning that the military there were serious challenges, isn't it? These are things that I raised. And so as far as I'm concerned, partisanship in the security services has gotten to a level where I think I'm expecting His Excellency, the President, to delve into it. And I think per the recommendations of the police leak tape report that went to the executive from Parliament, I'm expecting that, I think one of the recommendations was to ensure that Parliament is involved in the recruitment, like in the appointment, vetting and appointment of IGPs, controller of immigration, fire service. That way, Lantam, when that happens, I want to believe that there'll be some sanity will be restored back into the security services. Do you hear the UK senior security officers or the US saying I'm I think that it is something that if we don't check, one day, and recently you even had some officers threatening here and there, retired officers threatening. And I asked myself, where did we go wrong? Why did we go wrong?
In all of this, how have how would you rate how the IGP is handling the police service, especially, in all of these issues that are coming up within the police, architecture, the professionalism, all of that? How would you rate the IGP's performance in all of this?
Well, the IGP, I would say he's a friend, he's someone I know very well. And I got to know him whilst he was, ACP, DCOP, and came up to be IGP. And, he's done very well. The verdict is not even for me to pass. If you probably just do a non-scientific poll that and bring the IGP about his performance, yes or no, very unscientific, and see what the responses of your viewers and listeners, what the responses would be. We conducted a survey. And so for me, I would say that he's done well. He started with a lot of venom, a lot of power, vim, but along the line, I think that they killed his momentum a bit along the line. When this leak tape came, and they were every cabinet meeting, it was just IGP they are discussing to remove because MPP will not win the election if he stays. MPP will not win the election. So
there were attempts to remove him?
Plenty.
Attempts by who? Apart from the leak tape that we know about.
Regional executives of these parties, I think sometimes they sit in cabinets. I'm told they do. And some of them, I get all this information when they go to cabinet. They will discuss him and say he needs to go. He needs to go. He needs to go. He needs to go. And you ask, and the only reason they give is, one, he won't let us win the election. And then two, he's been arresting our people. Who is your people? Are your people not Ghanaians? Are you getting what I'm trying to say? He won't let us put on siren. I came here. Me, I don't have siren. Me, I hate sirens. I hate them. Someone I admire. What's his name? A+.
Yeah.
He said he used to hate it, but now he's seen why it should be there. I don't want to believe I would ever see why the sirens should be there for everybody. Because then I know some members of the previous government who were arrested for misuse of sirens.
Yeah.
And they were angry. They called for his blood. And I said, what makes you different from me? So today, you are no longer in power. You are comfortable sitting in your car like I came here and going home. Why won't you live that life every day like Lantam? When you are going home, do you have people going with you?
Unfortunately.
So those are some of the things that came up. And I just think that, you see, I think those who like power, they hate to be challenged using the law. That is what I reckon was going on. Because then I hate to see, I'm very obedient when it comes to the law. I don't want trouble. One thing, I don't want trouble. You see Okada riders, you get to a traffic light and they are going.
Yeah.
Eventually, you will see about 90% of Okada riders, if they are listening to me, they are executives, some of them are my friends. 90% of them today will stay in traffic. You know why? Because the current IGP warned police officers who were taking advantage of them. You see, in the police service, in their own service regulation, it requires that for you to go into business, you need an explicit permission from the IGP. Some of them have Okada for people to ride, they have trotro, and they don't have that permission. So the allegation, I can't say it's substantiated, is that they take our Okada, and because they know we don't have papers, the next day, the Okada is not there, and you see someone riding it and he's doing business for a police officer. These were the allegations, which was quite serious. So I think the idea then, I don't know how they arrived at that. Now, apart from checking some people who reasonable suspicion, stop them and check them. But almost all of them are stopping. Is that not what we want? Yes. Today, those days, once a while, when the traffic makes a mistake, we'll go through. Me today, I will stop. If I'm not sure, even when I was coming here, I miss your lane, I have to go around. I had to stop at a lane. I didn't know I could even go. I didn't want, even around this time, I didn't want to make a mistake. The reason is that you don't want to only obey God when you believe the pastor is there. Isn't it? If your teachings say this is a sin, whether pastor is there, mother is there, IGP is there, controller of immigration is there, fire service boss is there, you do your work and be obedient. So for me, the scheme, there were a lot of schemes to remove him. So it killed, I think, I was expecting a certain Ghana by now. Where it didn't matter who you were. And you see, I lived in a lot of barracks in Ghana. My dad used to be a police officer. I lived in a lot of barracks. They will move you from one place to the other. And I never admired the indiscipline in the service. Never. Unruly behavior. But I used to tell myself that I pray that in my lifetime, I will see a police service that is so disciplined. A police officer who will not just tell you, he arrests you, and his salary is more than you. A police officer's salary is better than a teacher. You arrest a teacher who is driving and say, give me money. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? You want to see a police officer who manages his life, or a military officer who manages his life. You want to see fire service who manages his life with the money paid him monthly.
Are we beginning to see that discipline return to the police service under this IGP?
I think we've seen substantially.
Are we seeing that?
Listen,
has the IGP done well?
4 or 5 years ago, before he came, in the morning when you see police officers in Accra wearing desert boots. You know what a desert boot is? Ghana, Accra is a desert. I used to ask, I would see them and say, why are you wearing desert boots? He said, oh, because I don't have polish. But when I was growing up, when you stood in front of a police officer's shoe, you could see your face, isn't it? I used to take my dad's shoe. You can polish it for like 2 hours. You iron the thing, and you come and raise it and tell you didn't iron it well. Do you understand? So I think that these days they don't even do their fatigue. You go to a police barracks and it's dirty. Those days, every weekend is fatigue. They will drill you. They will let you carry their rifle. You run. Next time you miss. But today, Lantam, things are not. But I think things have improved.
Right.
No, as for that, I will tell you that. And fortunately, I think the survey we conduct, we interacted with close to 1,000 security officers, including not just the police, close to 1,000 of them using a certain figure of about 80,000. We did a percentage and then the responses meant that they wanted to see discipline in the structure, because to the constable or the private soldier or the lance corporal or the chief inspector, because there are people above you, all he wants is to be respected and accorded some respect, and what is due him given to him. And as we speak, even military officers, they still don't. I don't know whether maybe this month they will receive pay slip, but for almost 2 years, military officers have not been receiving pay slip, because the previous government said they will pay them about 70%, and they ended up giving them about 30%. So they started hiding their pay slips. So your amount pay slip are not being the. Do you get what I'm trying to say? There are problems everywhere. I want to believe that John Mama is more than capable to bring people on board to help him fix, the holes. There are too many. The leakages are
too much.
No. Listen, Lantam, the leakages are too much. So that national security couples are buying lands for. Land that you want to cost them for probably $1 million or above, $10,000.
But you're still watching State of Affairs here on GHOne Television. My guest is Dr. Adam Bonaa, security analyst. We'll take a short break here and return to the conversation. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back to State of Affairs here on GHOne Television. My guest in the studio this evening is Dr. Adam Bonaa, and we've been talking about quite a number of security issues. And I would want us to touch a little bit on the issues that happened at Ejura. But before that, I want to know, should the current president, President Mahama, maintain the IGP, Dr. Dampare, in office?
Oh, well, maybe I'm the wrong person to ask that question.
In your estimation?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm the wrong person, because then he is someone I would want him to fall. And the reason is a positive reason. Mine is that, and I have always said it, if you are doing well, why shouldn't they keep you? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? And when you look at, you do a non-scientific poll. This election, people were burning, didn't beat anybody.
So what do you make of that, formal petition which has been submitted for the removal of ACP Agbozo? Who, according to them, they say criticized, the IGP and, all of that, inciting junior police officers against the IGP and, all of these
I'd rather
things.
you didn't ask me this question, but once you have asked me, I didn't know, I didn't see the entire, I don't take the entire synopsis, so right. I didn't know this was there, okay. But you've asked me and the general public is watching me, they will be expecting me to speak on it. He's a very good friend, he's a very good brother, and I've had a back and forth with him this evening on some of the things that have come out. I find them quite worrying. He's a respected brother, he's an older brother. We share a lot of things in common. But the things that have come out, I think someone filed an RTI, right to information, and the information came out that he was involved in is a beating of his superior, I am told, and he was, you know, in the services they have their internal courts, like the military will court martial you,
Yeah.
they'll try you, and it's a whole thing where you have to come with. So I think he faced service inquiry, I'm told, and he got dismissed for 2 years, unfortunately, but eventually he was reinstated, and reinstated and reduced from superintendent to deputy superintendent, and so, but eventually he retired as an assistant superintendent of police. So I think from what my readings, and I just saw these things this evening. I mean, a lot of things have happened today.
Yeah.
And I thought that, these things are going on, and I didn't have much information on it. But I think the petition is because I am told he is teaching security, masters in security, leadership in security at UPSC.
At UPSC.
And I think I'm told the petitioners hold a view that for someone who did that and was convicted, you know, I mean, once you get was convicted, to be made to teach master students. Master students are, I mean, mostly matured students, you know, people who are after first degree. And I'm sure most of them will be people who would be working with the security services and all that. And so I think the petitioner petitioned that with this, it will be difficult to say the person should teach. I think it's around that. I don't have all the full fact, but it looks like the RTI is what generated. I don't even know who did that.
But there's a point that
petitioner.
There's a point that is saying that some police officers, ACP Agbozo is captured on video saying some police officers will mobilize and drive the IGP out of office. You know, police personnel will lock his door, among other things. And the video has been described as destabilizing and dangerous, you know, according to the petitioner, you know, among other things. So
I must
there's
confess.
certain sentiments within the police service that they are not too happy with the IGP.
I mean, he's a PhD holder just like me. And I always say, do you write on sentiments? You don't write on sentiments. I can sit here and create, I mean, you are talking to me. Millions of people are watching us from all over the world. They have a lot of following. People watch me. And so I must be careful what I say. What I say should bring people together, but I should be careful what I say. And so mine is that it was an unfortunate statement. I watched it. It was an unfortunate statement as a retired senior police officer. Very unfortunate. You know, that amounts to mutiny. You know, mutiny, that's treason. It's treasonable. I mean, and so for me, I don't know. I watched it, but I don't know what probably
based
came
on what
over
he was
him,
saying that.
what he was. So
All
mine
right.
is that to have said, they need to, because then it can never happen. Police officers are trained. Military officers are trained. I have had banter with the military, but I will never tell military officers. I have said COAS is at loggerheads with CDS, and it's a fact. Anybody who works within the sector knows. But are you telling me that me, Adam Bonaa, would make a statement such as military officers should go and drive out one of these important persons?
I mean, that would be a dangerous statement.
I mean, people who are carrying guns, you know, it's something that, but
right.
unfortunately, I think that he went too far with that statement. I would have wished that he would retract, he would apologize and retract and say, maybe my comment, I mean, he's a brother. I mean, I don't wish him bad. He's a brother. You put me on the spot and I did to say these things. I just think that there were embarrassed lists. And I will tell you that the survey we conducted among security officers says otherwise.
Okay, all right. Because of time, let's touch on the issue at Ejura.
Yeah.
You know, where, I mean, we're seeing, you know, property at police stations being burned. It will not be the first time that we've had mobs attack a police station. And it looks like we're reaching a point where people are not afraid of going to a police station to go and do this kind of damage.
You know, I think we've come far as a country. We've come far as a country, and I'm saying this because the usual thing the police would have done will march into Edra Township. They would go in a war format and beat anything in their way, destroy anything in their way. We have come a long way. And I'm happy that under this IGP, things have been democratic. You know, in Ashaman, when a police military officer was, saw what happened.
Yeah.
In Garu area, Timpani, Boku area, when some security officials were accosted because the people suspected they were carrying guns, they went there, adorned and beat them. These are not democratic. You remember Ablekuma, when Tola and Kweku Ninja were killed. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Under the good old late Namfuri. By the time the police went to the village, today is a big town, it used to be a village. By the time they went to the village and they were coming out, all we saw were smoke bellowing into the atmosphere. The only human beings were some old ladies and old people and children, 1 or 2 children in the village. They flattened everything. You can go and view the video. It's still there. Do you get what I'm trying to say? We've come far. So people should not be taking the laws into their own hands.
But I mean, you just see the damage that was done, to the police station, the building,
yes.
Motorbikes.
And this is
a security
completely
installation.
Uncalled for. And I'm happy the police have taken a posture of dialogue. Because a posture of antagonizing and making the situation worse would only... You see what we saw...
But shouldn't the perpetrators be arrested?
No, I'm told they've arrested some people. But let me tell you what, one person died, unfortunately, in police custody.
Yes.
And I say that I would urge the Ghana Police Service, through the Inspector General of Police and whoever these police officers are, to let the police officers, the station officer, the district commander, the regional commander, to call them for some investigations. Because if you are a police officer in East Legon or a police officer at Adenta or cantonment, the people in cantonment are different from the people in Nima Mamobi, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So if you were posted from, let's say, University of Ghana Police Station, the Legon Police Station, to a place like Nima Police Station, what the first thing you do, if you are trained, and they are all trained, is to do a profile of the place. Know who is the opinion leader, the chiefs, the imams, the pastors. Know all of them. Know who, when you are in trouble and you pick up a phone and you call, they will come to your rescue. You just need one person to say everybody should stand down. But for them to have this person in their custody, and the person died, nobody knows what happened and the person died. I'm not here to, but
the police say he wasn't feeling well. He was taken to the hospital.
The person died.
And the person died.
And I'm sure the person is a Muslim.
According to the account of the police.
The person is a Muslim. And you know that deceased Muslims are usually not taken to the morgue. So the first thing you do, because you would have taken the person's name and particulars.
Yeah.
So the name alone, is not, you won't say because of the name, the person is a Muslim. But the name alone should trigger something. So let's speak to an opinion leader, an imam of a dra. Let's speak to somebody. So that person, but they didn't. You took the person to the morgue, and I guess, per the account I have, came back to the police station like nothing has happened. And they got wind of it. They came finding the person is in the morgue. And they ran riot. What we are seeing, completely untoward. It doesn't matter. 2 wrongs would never make a right. And so I am saying that. What has happened, the perpetrators, and I'm happy, is it the Edrama Hene has spoken against it. We will all speak against it. I think that is wrong.
Okay.
But the police officers who did this, I think they should be asked to also give an account of why they didn't see this coming.
All right. We'll have to end it here because of time. Dr. Adam Bonaa, as always, it's been a pleasure having you here in the studio.
You.
And thank you very much for honoring our invitation this evening.
You are welcome. Thank you.
Dr. Adam Bonaa speaking to us this evening here on State of Affairs. And this is where we will wrap it up. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Lantam Papanko. Have a good evening.